Yesterday, the world lost a hero. Former South African president and anti-apartheid leader Nelson Mandela passed away at the age of 95. Mandela was an inspiring revolutionary who not only changed his country, he changed the entire world. As a young South African living under full apartheid, Mandela became involved in anti-colonial politics that worked to dismantle the oppressive system of institutionalized racism. As a young man, Mandela got involved in politics, rose quickly in the ranks of the African National Congress. And as a lawyer, he oversaw the 1955 Congress of the People, which produced a charter that later became a manifesto for the liberation movement. In 1962, Mandela was convicted of sabotage and conspiracy and sentenced to life in prison as a political dissident. He served 27 years of that sentence due to the efforts of the international community rallying for his release. Now, the entire media machine is covering Mandela's death and historic legacy, as well they should. However, it's being framed with a neo-colonial bias of American exceptionalism. See, what the media won't tell you is who Nelson Mandela really was and what he really stood for, and how it was actually the good old Central Intelligence Agency that was responsible for his arrest in the first place. That's right, a former CIA official admitted in 1990 that it was the agency that provided the details of Mandela's whereabouts and turned him over to South African security. They also had the audacity to call it, quote, one of our greatest coups. So, what else is the media not telling you? To start, did you know Mandela was a communist? Yes, the big red scary C word. It was just confirmed that he was indeed a member of the South African Communist Party at the time of his arrest. And it's not too much of a shock when you consider how Mandela equated poverty and inequality to slavery and apartheid as social evils, saying, quote, overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity, it's an act of justice. It's a protection of a fundamental human right, the right to dignity and a decent life. While poverty persists, there is no true freedom. Here's another tidbit that the mainstream media won't touch. Mandela never bought into America's war on terror. Not only was he a fervent critic of the Bush administration and spoke out against the execution of prisoners without due process, he even said this about bin Laden. He said the labeling of Osama bin Laden as the terrorist responsible for those acts before he had even been tried and convicted could also be seen as undermining some of the basic tenets of the rule of law. But bin Laden wasn't the only surprising figure that Mandela spoke out about. He also defended Muammar Gaddafi and Fidel Castro, given their support for ending apartheid in South Africa. It makes sense that Mandela would think twice to demonize what America labels a terrorist, considering how Mandela himself was on the terror watch list all the way up until 2008, along with the entire African National Congress. And while today's media outlets are hailing Mandela as one of the most famous pacifists in modern history, the reality is that while he promoted nonviolence, he was not opposed to using violence when necessary. Here he is giving his first TV interview ever discussing just that.
Arming the white community, arresting 10,000s of Africans, the show of force throughout the country. Notwithstanding our clear declaration that this campaign is being run on peaceful and non-violent lines, close the chapter as far as our methods of political struggle are concerned. There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people. And I think the time has come for us to consider, in the light of our experiences in this stay at home, whether the methods which we have applied so far are adequate.
But it's especially awkward and ironic for the corporate and political establishment to be remarking on Mandela's legacy today, because the vast majority of these people still support apartheid. See, a system that gives racial discrimination legitimacy is alive and well in a little country called Israel. And every year, $3 billion of taxpayer money is used to sponsor Israel's apartheid state and oppression against the Palestinians. So, as we commemorate the life of an amazing leader and civil rights activist, let's not let them whitewash his real legacy. That's our show, you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. We'll see you right back here next week to break the set all over again.